because sometimes we're taught to invest in a life insurance policy. You're like, I'm going to get my life insurance and I'm going to grow my cash value, right? That's a lovely thing. It's 2 in 1, huh? Have you heard that before? Have you been seeing that? They say become your own bank. I've heard that. Do you know how that works in actuality? Can I explain it to you a little bit? Okay. So if you buy a life insurance policy, why are you buying it? For the death benefit, right? Now they sell you an additional thing saying a cash value, right? How long does it take for your cash value to actually have a positive balance? 3 years. You want me to tell you how? I help people pass the state exam for about 3 years. The life insurance exam in the state of Texas, I taught classes for 3 years helping about 1,000 people pass that exam. So with that, after 3 years in the state of Texas, they are legally required for your life insurance to have a positive value. Did I say it had to have a comma in it? Did I say it had to be 3 digits like $100? I said a positive. Did you notice that? Okay, just wanted you to make sure we were all together. With that being said, 3 years you've been investing, but you just got a value. What happens after you have that policy for 20 years, somebody dies? What happens to that cash value? It goes and stays with that insurance company. Your family only gets the death benefit. Can I tell you what happened if you choose to take a loan out of that policy? Did you notice the word I used? What you have to do with a loan? If you have to pay it back, normally you also pay, if you're paying interest and paying it back and you die in the midst of that, what's going to happen to the death benefit? When I teach my clients to buy insurance and invest separately, they begin to see their wealth grow better and more consistently because they're not intertangled. If you have a life insurance policy with cash value, perfectly fine if you choose it. But understand, you're paying for 2 things, but you're only going to get one. So be aware and ask questions. This is not my opinion. You can read inside of your policy what it says about loans. You can read inside of your policy what will happen if you take a loan. You can read inside of your policy what happens to the cash value upon your demise. What we also need to do is not allow the second generation, the next generation, to start at ground zero. Because that's another big thing that happens too often. I did it, they can do it. Let's start them off a step higher. You're getting access to information. Bring them along in the voyage. If they're 13, 14, 15, they know money. They ask you for $10, $20. They can then learn the financial principles so that when they start working, they themselves can set up an IRA. Can I ask a question? How many of you have your own business? How many of you have your own business? Is it a home-based business? Do you have your children on payroll? If you have children, do you have your children on payroll? Do you know you're legally able to pay your children, especially if it's a home-based business? Write this down. You don't have to. You may not even say my name, remember my name, nor my lovely gray hair. But we're going to go on. Publication, IRS Publication 15. IRS Publication 15 will talk to you about different deductions that you're able to take, especially if you're a business owner or have a home-based business. Begin to look at that. Begin to have the conversation with your tax preparer, your CPA, because the reality is, if you have your own business, it's a possibility, not a guarantee. Hear what I said, possibility for you to employ your children and pay them and allow them to actually start having an IRA now at 8, at 13, at 7. If you have a business and you can make them a model, every year you get them in your pictures, you pay them. Now you can set them up in an IRA. And guess what's happening? At age 7, 8, 13, they have an IRA because they have earned income. When they hit 18, they still have that IRA, and it's compounding over those years. Wouldn't that start them off in a better place than we started? Now, you all see that lovely lady right here in front of me with the gray hair that matches? That's the lady who raised me. She keeps claiming she's my mom, but I'm not sure about that. But she had the opportunity to teach me everything she knows. She didn't know much about investing, but what she did do was give me space to learn. She didn't stop me from learning and pursuing. And that's one of the huge things we need to do, is give our children space to explore safely, but also we need to start them on a higher level financially. Give them the financial knowledge you now have access to. Because just like you're not understanding the principles you see online, they don't either. You have more life experience than them. So use that, leverage that, walk in together. Allow them to ask questions, even when it's uncomfortable for the person answering. Okay? I appreciate your time. I'm not sure if I ate up my 10 minutes or if y'all have a question for me. Does anyone have a question? No question? Okay. I'm going to be at that back table over there on that side if you want to talk to me or if you'd like my information. My name is Sha'Quila Ellis, and I hope you had a good day.